just keeps making things worse with the Walt Disney Company. The more that she tries to defend this movie, the more that she tries to spew her agenda onto the general public, it's only making matters worse. Not just for Bob Iger, but for whatever is left of the image of Disney as a whole.
Jonah Platt, whose father helped produce the latest Snow White film, had some very harsh words for star Rachel Zegler.
For context, Variety wrote a report recently titled "Inside Disney's Snow White Fiasco: Death Threats, Beefed Up Security, and a Social Media Guru for Rachel Zegler." EV Magazine wrote on X, "When you compare how Rachel Zegler spoke about Snow White to how other actresses who played live-action Disney princesses spoke about their character, really underlines just how poorly she carried herself."
Once upon a time, Disney's live-action remakes were untouchable. Cash cows drenched in nostalgia that made magic at the box office. But in 2025, the studio's highly anticipated Snow White remake went from enchanted dream to corporate nightmare, tangled in backlash, legal threats, and a cultural clash that rocked both Hollywood and its most loyal fans. At the center,
rehearsals for Romeo plus Juliet, so I'm going to get out of here. Bye for now. The Variety story notes how a couple of minutes after posting this, she replied to her own tweet and wrote, "And always remember, free Palestine." This is not something to be coddled or encouraged. Zegler isn't the only one who has made political statements, though. Her co-star Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, expressed her staunch support for Israel.
This surprise of it all? Rachel Zegler. The 23-year-old rising star, cast as the beloved Disney princess, was poised for a career-defining moment. Instead, she's found herself at the heart of a storm, one that could change how studios manage stars, social media, and storytelling in the age of hyperreactive internet culture. The interview that sparked an avalanche. Fan skepticism was already simmering when Disney announced a reimagined Snow White.
Around $240 to $270 million. It has made $43 million domestically so far and around $84 million globally per Box Office Pro.
However, clash for various reasons in the lead up to its release. Zegler had called the original Snow White movie dated and weird and said Prince Charming was a stalker.
But things took a sharp turn when Zegler, during early interviews, openly critiqued the original 1937 animated film. Calling the classic outdated and dubbing the prince a stalker, her comments didn't land well with longtime fans. Hashtags like #not, #MySnowWhite, and #ZeglerOut exploded online, as social media users accused her of disrespecting the very legacy she was hired to bring to life. Many contrasted her approach with past Disney actresses, like Julie Andrews or Emma Watson, who had handled reinterpretations with careful diplomacy. What started as fan frustration quickly escalated into something far more serious. Legal storm behind the scenes. Sources close to the production say Disney's legal team quickly stepped in, holding emergency meetings with Zegler and her reps. The focus? Alleged breaches of contract.
On X, when you compare how Rachel Zegler spoke about Snow White to how other actresses who played live-action Disney princesses spoke about their character, really underlines just how poorly she carried herself.
The son of Snow White producer Mark Platt, Jonah Platt is the son's name, he is speaking out publicly against Rachel Zegler and blaming her for the film's catastrophic failure at the box office.
And specifically, the studio reportedly believed Zegler may have violated non-disparagement clauses, essentially biting the hand that fed her. Also on the table was Disney's notorious morals clause, which gives the studio the right to terminate contracts if a star's behavior is seen as damaging to the brand. Rarely used, but incredibly powerful, this clause suddenly became a very real threat. Fueling the fire was a politically charged tweet Zegler posted shortly after promoting the film, something insiders say sent Disney execs into full damage control mode. Veteran producer Mark Platt reportedly met with Zegler in person. According to those familiar with the situation, the tone was tense. The stakes, sky high. The film was already struggling in early screenings, the fan base was splintering, and now their lead actress was making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
He's totally right. Now, of course, as we covered, the movie is terrible anyway in its own right. It was probably going to underperform regardless. People are tired of the soulless cash grab remake thing. All kinds of problems that could be pinned partly on the producer. Like the producer did not do a good job. Nobody who produced this movie did a good job.
Double standards, or just business. Zegler wasn't the only cast member to speak out politically. Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, also made waves during the promo tour. But unlike Zegler, she wasn't dragged into legal discussions. This inconsistency raised eyebrows. Was this a case of studio politics? Was Zegler, as a newer face with less industry leverage, being made an example of? Or did Disney simply see her actions as more damaging to the brand? Zegler's team didn't stay quiet. In off-the-record conversations with media, her reps suggested Disney had encouraged a modern feminist angle from the start, and were now punishing her for following that exact directive. Was this damage control gone rogue, or a genuine conflict of vision? The box office meltdown. Meanwhile, the film itself was unraveling. With a bloated budget reportedly topping $200 million, Snow White flopped hard. Marketing efforts were frantic and inconsistent. Trailers were edited to minimize Zegler's voice, and action scenes were promoted more than story elements. It felt like a film trying to be everything to everyone, and succeeding at none of it. Critics didn't hold back. One scathing review dubbed it a feminist fever dream locked in a corporate cage. Others called it disjointed, overly politicized, or simply joyless. Visually stunning? Sure. But narratively, it was a train wreck. And inside Disney's boardrooms, the knives were out. Leaked internal memos revealed a deep division among executives. One camp pushed for bold, progressive storytelling. Another warned against alienating the traditional Disney audience. The result? A confused final product with no clear identity, and a brand caught between its past and future. The bigger picture: who controls the narrative? The Snow White fiasco highlights a major tension rippling through Hollywood. Creative freedom versus corporate image control. Studios now promote diversity, inclusion, and modern values, not just as storytelling choices, but as PR strategies. But when those values stir up controversy, who takes the hit? Increasingly, it's the talent. Zegler, depending on your perspective, is either a cautionary tale or a symbol of defiance. Should actors be allowed to critique outdated narratives? Or are they brand ambassadors who must toe the company line, even if it means silencing their own beliefs? The answer may set the tone for years to come. If Disney enforces legal penalties, it could spook actors into tighter media obedience. But if they reconcile publicly with Zegler, it might open the door to more candid and sometimes messy press conversations. Disney's identity crisis. Regardless of how this ends, one thing is clear: Disney is at a crossroads. The once infallible studio is now facing questions it can't magic away. Fans accuse it of either going too woke or not far enough. Shareholders are growing restless after several underwhelming remakes and shifting creative strategies. Some are even calling for a stop-to-legacy reboots altogether. The Snow White debacle was supposed to be a flagship for Disney's modern era. Instead, it's become a glaring example of the company's struggle to balance progress with nostalgia. What now? As of now, Disney has stayed quiet on the legal outcome with Rachel Zegler. Some insiders expect a behind-the-scenes settlement, paired with a public statement carefully worded to protect both sides. Others believe Zegler may quietly exit future projects, her relationship with the Mouse House permanently frosty. Either way, this story isn't just about one movie anymore. Rachel Zegler played a princess, but found herself in a real-world saga far more complex and far less magical. And Disney? It must now ask itself whether chasing modern values while clinging to old formulas is a story that can ever truly work. Because remaking fairy tales is easy, but rewriting your legacy? That's the real challenge.